if you don't have some talent, you're not gonna stay long.
That's right.
You know, I don't care how good looking you are or anything else, but,
Yeah, but those guys, so they keep coming.
well, I've got a studio where they come out there and try to manufacture. I watch it all the time. Shadazy came out there for a month, you know, and used the studio, and there's been some others, you know, that have come out. Anyway,
Okay.
one way or the other. Where were we? What were we doing? Who was saying what? Jimmy C was talking about, oh, you were talking about how you got started in
Yeah,
it.
I got the.
Oh, yeah, the famous convertible.
The famous
1940 Ford
The
convertible.
40 Ford instead of the 44.
44 something.
F-O-R-D, little Ford car. And I really liked that little car because I could show off. I'd seen my brother do it.
I bet the
though.
girls liked it too,
Yeah,
didn't
the
they?
girls, I'd get a little queen on the right side, and then with the top down, and then to really show off, I say, hold the steering wheel, hold the steering wheel. So I'd back up and sit on the back seat,
Yeah.
and I'd drive it with my feet.
Oh,
But I said, don't make it go too fast. Beat myself on the way coming back, but that turned out good. I didn't wreck. That turned out okay. But the little, yeah, and then, but what happened is the guy, the band leader, somehow or another he couldn't, after the hit we had and everything, things wouldn't happen, he wasn't making enough money, so he quit the band and left me holding the band. You heard the expression, left me holding the bag?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wound up with the band and having to run the band. And so I started thinking, you know, I got to try to get a hit. I said, because we had a big hit with Big Texas, and I think that's a secret. So I started recording with a little label there. And then there's a guy, we had a TV show in Lake Charles, and it was about 1952 and 3. The guy came over, he had a record shop, and he said, if you want to write a couple of songs, I'll put them out on record for you. So I had a brainstorm or two, and I'd never done that before, but I said it's worth a try. 'Cause I knew we'd had success with Big Texas, the one that came out to be Jambalaya too, you know, a little bit of Big Texas was in Jambalaya, wasn't in French. Big Texas was Cajun French. So then, I came up with Darling, and when we came back and recorded here, Fred Rose wanted to call it Cry Cry Darling, and wanted to put a release to it. I said, it's not out, how you gonna release it? He was talking about a chord, a bridge. I'd never heard of that.
oh, he wanted to release in the song.
Yeah.
Oh,
Louisiana, they call it refrain.
yeah.
Refrain?
Well,
That's in English, I never heard it. But anyhow, so we put the chorus, and there was no problem at all, because da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
well, how did you get up here though to see?
But wait, I'm
Oh,
not
okay,
through
I'm
with
sorry.
that part, 'cause it cost me half of the song. It cost me half of the song, but da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I had a smash with Darling, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll forget that. And so Tim and friends got me on the Louisiana Hayride. And I had a lot of friends like Tater Pete Hunter in Baytown
Yeah.
helped me. He knew people here, Dub Albritton, Union W,
Yeah.
and Gabe Tucker.
Yeah.
And they worked on the opera for me, these people. The unsung heroes for me, where I'm concerned. Tater Pete, and he was a DJ and you knew him well. So, okay, so I started doing a couple of guests at the opera, and 1954, Cry Cry Darling was released, and I had some other chart records, not real big, but I joined the opera in 1956, and so the rest is history, I guess. But you know, Gene wanted to say some funny things, and that's not very funny. But that's how it happened.
That's funny, you just said that, it's funny.
The little boy said there's a little bit of real cereal in what we're talking about. Not serious, it's real cereal. But that's how it all came about to where I wound up here. And this is where I said and of course, you brought this up about the hayride. Elvis had been at the hayride and I think it was 1950, early 56, he left.
55, 56.
And the crowd did this, because all of the older people that had been coming from Texas, and everyone, remember how the crowd was mainly from all over Texas, they wouldn't come back. But all the young people had left when Elvis left, and nobody came back. So I read the handwriting on the wall, and I said my name for Nashville, and that's how, and you were there for what I'm talking. Well, no, y'all, you say you
We had already left. We left in 55.
You young went to, and
We went to Ozark Jubilee.
Jim Ed said, why don't you come to Ozark Jubilee? I said, no, I want to stay in Nashville. He and his sister.
Jim Reeves tried to get us to come up here too, but we didn't do it. We ended up going. I love television though. For some reason, I liked television.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there, and then when I went into service, everything started just going down, but.
For a while.
The old saying that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And if you want to keep a good man, I guess that you better try to be a good cook, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lady in this town that I dearly love, and she's one of the best cooks that you've ever seen. And I have, through the years, I've had the opportunity to get a recipe or two from her. And they're always good, because she's I don't know if there's a better Cajun cook in this country than Miss May. Now, it'd be interesting to find out how you got how Miss May got you. Which was it?
Well, it happened down there while playing those clubs. She'd come over to the club where I was playing Standing Water. I'd never noticed her. I guess she'd done some serious dancing too that I didn't know about. But I saw that pretty Cajun lady girl standing out there in front, and then I started meeting her, seeing her with friends of mine at a big poplar club. They had 3 clubs in Ville Platte. Had the one where the Cajuns started dancing. That's when all over it's a dance hall and no liquor sold. And that's when you'd pick up a Cajun girl to dance. You'd ask her mama if it'd be okay. She'd be sitting with her mama. And there was a big post in the middle. And so you'd ask her to dance if it's okay. And so I'll show you how it worked. You'd dance like this, with the girl. Mama's watching like this. But when you get past that big post, you do like this. But she'd already graduated from that place.
Oh, okay.
I had gone a couple, I played there. So I started going, she started coming to the more high-class club, because that's for the beginners, and then there was a middle, then there was a real heavy, what's where the orchestra was played. And the bugles and all that played. Big band is what I'm trying to say. And of course I met her there. And that's where it started. And so wasn't long after I met her that she proposed to me. I mean, no, I did. Oh, I hope she don't see this. I hope she don't see this ever. No, we proposed to her, and we got married down there, and we moved, I think we got married in 1948, moved. And Gary came along about 50. Well, I might be getting lost on my time period, but we moved here in 56. That's how I met Miss May. But when we moved here, and Rufus and I moved ahead of time, stayed with T-Tom and Vicky. But we were so used to that Cajun food that we had always had all our lives. It's a part of our culture, like the language and the music. Well, Vicky Contreras, T-Tom, his wife, would fix a nice meal, and it was for a couple of weeks we stayed with them, with T-Tom and Vicky. But sometimes we'd disappear after the meal, and we'd tell them we were going in town. Well, Rufus and I, we were heavy on the spoon, We'd go into town and eat some more or something. We were ashamed to ask for a second or third or fourth. So we'd go downtown. So about 2 weeks of that, and I got Miss May over here. And went and got her. and would go back home periodically and bring back 100 pounds of rice in the back of that little
I
car.
remember those stories.
Yeah, and and then we'd fill up.
Yeah.
You couldn't get the right rice up here.
They didn't sell it in the stores at the time, you know, so we'd bring back 100 pounds at a time, to be sure it wouldn't run out at least for 3 or 4 months, you know.
And so they don't do his sausage, huh?
Boudin.
And that's how it all came about, and then she became quite well known with her Cajun cook. And that's awfully nice of you mentioning.
Well,
We've been to the house where she's.
let me see, I have been to some of her dinners and breakfast and lunches.
Yes, sometimes your breakfast is a lunch. You eating breakfast is really a lunch, like the crawfish etouffee.
She's awfully good. If you ever decide to move anywhere, I hope you move close to me.
You said that a while ago. Well, great.
But Don, dude, you being from, wait a minute, you're from Alabama.
South Alabama.
Yeah. How do you know so much about where he's from?
Well, I played there an awful lot through the years. I played, Hank Williams was very popular
So
down there.
popular.
I played
Okay.
down there with Hank and
Okay.
later with Ray Price, and then much later, the Drifting Cowboys. After we reformed the Hank Band, after we'd been retired 25 years, we played a lot in Louisiana, and
Cajuns love that sound. You know,
so
how
I got
know
a
it.
good friend that lives down in Lafayette, and he, I go down there twice a year and
Terry?
play at Terry Hughey.
Mhm.
And he's got a show at that Liberty Theater in Eunice, Louisiana, and we play there the week before Christmas and right after New Year, the week after New Year's. Twice a year we do that and fill that auditorium every time we go in there. I just came back from December 17th and January 7th.
Oh.
Yeah. Jimmy C. Newman came over there one time to see our show.
Yeah, I wanted to go in so bad, and we were circling around trying to find it. There was no place to park around the theater, and had to get wet to get park and get to the theater. It was
We do.
so many people.
The show just before Christmas each year is a Hank Williams special. Everything's Hank Williams.
Okay.
And the one right after Christmas is the OTC, Old Time Country.
Okay.
We go back to the Moon Mulligan times, and you know that time.
The days when we played-
those people still love to hear that. They come out there. We were just there 3 weeks. Well, 7th of January.
That's wonderful.
You know, all of my life, I've looked at steel guitar players, and I've marveled. Because I said, how in the world can a steel guitar player, got all them strings here, you know, and he don't make notes like we never make on guitar. He's got that bar, and he got all them levers down there. How does he know something's wrong with y'all's mind?
You're right. You're exactly
I don't
right.
know what it is.
I got a story about that I got to tell
Okay.
you, because the Cajuns love the steel guitar. I love to hear the steel guitar sound from the beginning, from the Leon McCullough days, I guess. And we had a steel guitar player didn't show up that night, and it was a little bandstand with not chicken wire, just a picket fence in front. then that one didn't have the chicken wire to protect us from the bottles. But there was a little bit higher class place anyhow. There was bottles didn't fly there. They just right there with the bottle. The beer bottle didn't fly. Just get my head right there. But then this Cajun walked in, and he's standing there, and he's petrified looking at where the steel guitar player. He loved that steel guitar player so much. And finally, we did one song, and he said, where's that guy that played that plank with all them wires on it? He wanted to hear that guy, the steel guitar player, but he didn't know the name of it. He called it that plank with all them wires on
The
it.
drunk guy was watching me tune up this little old club before the gig started, and he reached one of the keys and said, "What'll happen if I turn that?" I said, "It'll make your nose bleed." He was a little bitty guy.
A little bit of guy, yeah.
Y'all all know the story. Jimmy Day,
Yeah.
Jimmy Day was a great, and he was from down in, you know.
Yeah, it was
Champaign
a sort of we call him albino Cajun. He was blonde, you know, a little bit farther north. You know.
But anyway, he's the one that was going to fly from the Hermitage Hotel over to the Andrew Jackson one time, and jumped out the window, and he didn't fly. He didn't
Fell out the
didn't make
window,
it.
yeah.
After that, I said, there's something strange about steel guitar players.
Well, they asked one of the other guy buddies, another steel
He
guitar
said, why
player.
did you keep him from doing it?
Yeah, why didn't you keep him from doing
He
it?
said, I thought he could do it.
You got discovered, you know? That's how it was in those days. But I don't mean to thump a free melon. That's the worst thing you can do is somebody give you a melon and just.
I don't know that there's any free melons around here.
But do you reckon that we'd like to hear a little bit about the way you started? I've been down there.
Oh, my story's been told too many times.
Oh, no, not today. Because I've been around where you're from, on those duck hunts. So you tell us a little bit, because I remember so well when they came, the most beautiful harmony, they came to the hayride, and they were traveling, I think about 80 miles to.
We're going from Pine Bluff.
Yeah.
We lived in Pine Bluff at the time. Actually, we moved to Pine Bluff when I was, I guess, about 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. And Maxine and I had sung a little bit, together, and we enjoyed it and all. Didn't know I didn't play much guitar at that time, just a note or two. Anyway, there was a fellow by the name of Shelby Cooper and his wife Sarah Jane. Now
Remember him, yes, I do.
may know them. They had this little radio show every Saturday morning on KCLA. Well, if it was raining, then we didn't go out to the mill. We didn't work in the woods that day. So
Yeah, that's
Saturday
what-
morning, we'd go out and
You're down in the sawmill business, wasn't you?
yeah, we'd go out to this radio station and we'd sit there and watch Shelby and Sarah Jane, and Marshall, Sarah's brother was named Marshall, and he played the bass, so it was the three of them. Shelby played guitar, she played fiddle, and Marshall. And we went out there 2 or 3 times, and finally one day we got up enough nerve to ask him if we could sing. He had never heard us sing before, nothing, So anyway, we sang a little song. Here I am, we're both very young. Maxine is older than I am, in case you're wondering. But anyway, he let us sing. Well, Maxine graduated from high school, went to Little Rock, and started to work for the state police as a secretary. And there was this little show that was starting up called the Barnyard Frolic.
I heard it.
Well, by this time, she was working, and I was still in school, and I was playing sports and all that other stuff, and she entered me into an amateur contest about the time I graduated from high school. And I didn't go because, I didn't figure I was going to be in the music business anyway. And whenever I was in school, I was playing sports, and when I wasn't in school, my daddy had a job for me. So I worked in the woods, and when I started to college, I decided that I would, I'd major in forestry, which I thought I'd be, but daddy in the logging and lumbering business, I figured that's what I would be in the rest of my life too. Because, back then, the sons followed in the father's footsteps. Most of them did, except, John didn't, but he decided he would break out. He didn't want him in them cotton fields either. But anyway, she entered me into this contest, and I wouldn't go. And she did it again, and I still didn't go. And she did it again, and I finally said, well, darn, she's not going to give up, so I might as well give in, one or the other, So I went, did the show, did not win, and forgot about it. Went on back to school and all that, and finally she entered me again. She didn't enter me, they called me and said, why don't you come up here and sing a song? I said, no, I don't want to do that. I wasn't really interested in the music business. I love to sing, I'd sing, going down the skid trails, following an old mule, right behind him or something, but anyway, I finally went back up there and sang a song. it doesn't take too many times on stage for you to get in your blood, you know?
Good.
You become a ham real quick.
Especially with this.
Yeah. And I found out that you could get girls that way, too, you know? And I was at the age where I wasn't turning too many of them down, you know? Pretty much anyway. Well, anyway, one thing led to another. Then Maxine, one day I called her up on stage and we did a duet. Wayne Rainey came through town, and Wayne said, "Have you boys and girls, have you got a recording contract?" And we said, "No." He said, "Are you interested?" And we said, "Yeah, might be." So he got us to go over to a little old studio and make him an acetate. We did it. We had written "Looking Back to See" at this time. And so we went over and put that down on an acetate. Shelby Cooper went with us, and Sarah, and just three or four of us, and Maxine and I. Anyway, and put another song on the back of it, which was a solo by me called Rio de Janeiro. And that's what's on Looking Back to See in Rio de Janeiro. That's what Faber released. But we went to Shreveport and recorded it in KWKH.
Yeah.
And Jim Reeves was on the session, Floyd Kramer. Jim Reeves said, when we finished that song, we were splitting a session with him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, when that song was over, when we finished, he said, he said, if that song is a hit, I better hang my hat up. Well, that's the worst song I've ever heard.
Looking
Yeah. Well, anyway.
He was a little on the shy side.
Yeah.
But,
Anyway, Faber Robinson, that we were there on like a Friday and recorded it. So we stayed over to go to the hayride on Saturday. We'd never been there before. And we went to the hayride, and Faber Robinson talked Horace Logan, and we didn't even have a record out or anything else, talked Horace Logan into letting the Browns become regulars on the Louisiana hayride before and Horace had never heard us. He didn't know what we were. He said, well, Faber told him, he said, I guarantee you they're going to be a hit, so you might as well sign them up now, don't even wait, because if you wait too long, they're going to be somewhere else. So Horace signed us
it was
up.
a pretty good sale.
Yeah, he was. To give the devil his dues. But now Maxine don't. If you get Maxine's book, Looking Back to See, by Maxine Brown, she wasn't too kind to Faber, and I'm not going to be too kind to him either. After I say that you have to give the devil his dues, because he wasn't the greatest man in the world. But anyway, that's basically how we got started. And then Bonnie joined us whenever she graduated from high school.
I remember those times.
Yeah. That was.
But there was some funny happenings in Shreveport at the hayride.
I used to be sweet on Bonnie.
Did
She
you
never
think?
knew it. She never knew it.
You know what?
Back when I was with the roads, way back there.
I still am.
Yeah. I thought, well, she's so pretty.
Elvis asked her to marry him,
But
and she told me about it, and I said, well, what did you say? She said, I did. I said, no. I said, why did you say? She said, I am not going to marry anybody that's not a better kisser than that.
A better one.
Better kisser?
So he kissed like he danced.
I guess so.
Remember we went to that Jimmy Rogers Day, I think it was in Shreveport.
And the
Meridian. And we were all gathered around, and there was a music playing, and why that big dance was going on, I don't know. But the girls all wanted to dance with Elvis.
Yeah.
And Elvis was like me when it came to dancing. He had two left foot.
yeah.
Well,
And he was not at the time. He wasn't dancing.
you're always on stage playing, and you're never dancing.
Yeah.
So you don't get a chance to do much.
Yeah, that's correct.
I built a trio club so I could dance. I
should have done it to learn.
I tell you what, that was an expensive lesson.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do it again.
Well, it's been a great ride all the way around. I imagine we could, speaking of all of us, and it's been a great trip.
In addition to playing with some very interesting people, I was with the Wilburn brothers.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
you were.
For
Sure
10
farm.
years, and
Surefire.
we went into several different ventures, Surefire Music,
Wilhelm.
Those boys were really, they were very creative.
Wilhelm
Did good
was
work.
an agency that we formed to exploit a girl singer that we
Yeah.
discovered in Bellingham, Washington.
That's
Where
right.
Little Lynn.
That's right.
Then Johnny Russell came along.
Johnny came along and
Some others, the Osborne brothers.
all that, and I've been a part of many things kind of related to music, but not
Later.
necessarily playing. There's 4 couples of us over at Gordon Terry's house one Sunday. Gordon and Virginia, me and Miss Hazel, Pete Wade and Gene Wade, and Joe Vincent and his wife, and we had dinner over there. And we got talking about how unusual it is that sometimes the only time we see some of our friends are at a funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we said we ought to get some kind of outfit together where we can see our friends once in a while.
Mhm.
And so we talked about starting one for the old 25-year musicians and people who've been in it a long time.
Yeah.
So the next Sunday, we met over at my house, those same 4 people. And Gordon said, here's what I found out. We can start one, call it Reunion of Professional Entertainment.
Oh, that's why R.O.P.E started.
And said, here's what we have to do. Before we can solicit members, we have to elect temporary officers.
Gordon suggested it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I said, well, how much is the dues gonna be? He said, $100 for lifetime. I said, I won't be the first one.
Oh.
Put the money up. And the next Sunday we met, and it was a done deal. We had, it was on its way, and we had elected a temporary secretary, Leslie Elliott, to take care of the bid, and she's been the secretary nearly ever since day one.
Yeah.
But I came out of that was one of the things that I'm most proud of in my life. My card reads membership #1.
Oh, my goodness.
That's good,
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
And Ron, if you want to know whose card reads #2, I can tell you it's Ron Elliott. And Pete Wade's #3.
That'll be done.
Where's Gordon Terry?
Gordon was #4.
Number 4. You know, Don, you might, since this is being taped and all, you might explain what R.O.P.E is. You know, it started back then, and you know what your
It was
resolutions were.
getting together of professional musicians,
Yeah, I like
and used to they had a 25-year on the end of it, reunion of professional entertainers. 25 years are over, and it was just a thing where we can get together and
Reminisce.
visit and everything. And said somewhere down the line we might, if it goes big enough, we might have a retirement home and stuff like that. And we're still working on.
I was just going to say I might expand on that a little bit because they are working on it, and
I wish you would.
they have. I'm on that board, and they're trying their best. Excuse me. They're trying to purchase the property to build this on, and what they're looking at is they're looking at a big project, a project where you can go there and live in unassisted living, assisted living, all those things, you know, whatever you might need. And I know that it's going to take a long time, you know, to raise enough money and to get it all done.
Isn't CMA sort of involved?
Well,
Or weren't they?
yes, the CMA is involved. You know, they have kind of banded with R.O.P.E, and they're all working together to get this done because R.O.P.E has been around now for a long time,
1983.
and they have raised quite a bit of money, but they haven't raised enough money to go out and buy, you know, the land that it's going to take to do this, and they're looking at a pretty big place.
And the
you know.
longer we're waiting, the more it costs.
That's true. That's very true. And but they are now to the point where they have come. They're very close to. They have found the property that they want. If they can only just get it all worked out. The gentleman that owns it, he really. I don't know that he wants to sell it that bad. But his lawyers and everybody, they're all working with him, and they're trying to get this worked out. And hopefully, it's going to be going to materialize pretty soon. What has been suggested by John Denny is that R.O.P.E come down like on Music Row or somewhere in this general area of downtown and get a piece of property, a place where people can come into, that's not that expensive, that doesn't cost that
Start
much.
small, is that what it is?
It'd be small, where people could come in, you could sit down, all of you, if you wanted to, you could come in, sit down, play cards, you could, or whatever you wanted to do, but it would just be a place where you could go and sit down and have coffee and,
Yeah.
whatever, but,
Hold the thought, because I've got to change tape.
I'm through.
Hey, one thing,
We're ready.
He was inducted in the Hall of Fame, donated his guitar to the Hall of Fame, and said, I ain't. gonna
Cybert,
play
of course,
anymore."
Foster was so prevalent with Carl
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
He did sessions with me too.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you all the story about John Cybert. Johnny Cybert. We'll go somewhere else, and we can come back to that. Are you ready to go, Yonder?
Yep, tape is rolling.
Oh, it is, okay. Well, we were finishing up
The rope.
As it stands now, R.O.P.E is looking at the property. They've got most of the money to make the down payment, but there's still a long way to go in order to get it all done. But I think once we get the down payment and once we get the property, then people will start coming on board. I think people are worried about, are we going to do it?
Yeah,
Is
I
it
think-
going to be done?
That's the main thing I thought.
And it's not the easiest thing in the world,
It's
to
not.
ask people for money.
Yeah.
And especially whenever they don't know exactly what the money's going for. But this is getting awfully close, and I think it's just
It's a
a short
wonderful
matter.
organization. I'm
It is.
proud to be a part of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I think everybody that is a member is proud to be part of it.
We've had
because
as
it's-
high as 800 members, 700 or 800 members.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Talking about steel guitar players, let me tell y'all a little story.
Hold on a minute.
Oh,
on a minute.
shuckers.
Very proud of it.
Yeah, me too.
What it did.
Yeah.
I don't know what number I am. I
Well,
didn't look at my card.
It'd be wonderful if some, like it happens so many times in different situations where some big wealthy landowner would contribute the land on
Yeah.
to start with,
Okay, tape's rolling.
And
Okay.
somebody would have than you, or whatever, they were probably, can give once you got the land, you can get a mortgage to build.
All right.
And it is a 501c3 corporation, where they could deduct it. Anyway, since we've got a couple of steel guitar players here, let me tell you a story about, this is, I think, a funny story. Johnny Cybert, excuse me, was playing with Carl Smith,
Yeah.
and played with Carl for a long time.
Yeah.
And we were on a show in Akron, Ohio. And Carl had been imbibing a little more than perhaps he should have been. But Carl was closing the show. And Johnny Cybert was with him, and he had, I think Ernest Tubbs' band was working with Johnny and Carl, at the time, because Ernest was on the show. Well, Carl, you've got these spotlights right in your face, and you can't see anything. You can't see the floor, you don't know where you're
Yeah.
walking, but so Carl walked off the front of the stage and into the orchestra pit. Well, the orchestra pit was 14 feet deep. He fell down and somehow managed to stay on his feet, Anyway, he never missed a beat. He kept singing. I mean, and Cybert the band was playing, and everything. And the spotlight started looking for Carl. And Carl is down here, and the seats are up here, Carl's down here. Well, they can't find him, but he's singing, but they don't know where he is.
I didn't know that one before.
And the people are all starting to stand up, they want to see him too, And Carl is black down there.
At
It's
that
dark.
angle, I bet those spotlights couldn't find it.
They couldn't find
The
him.
Angle.
No, they couldn't find him.
Down in the
So, and he's dark down there, and he's trying to find a way out and singing along, you know, and you can hear him, you know, pounding away and singing away. Well, the people, the radio station is what booked us in. And the radio station, they, all, you know, Ernest and everybody just about left except I was standing there watching, you know, listening to Carl. Well, they came to me and they said, what do you think we ought to do? Do you think we ought to close the show? And I said, no. I said, he's still singing, ain't he? You know, he's not done yet.
Carl might have been singing Let's Live a Little.
I don't know what he was singing. But anyway, so this went on for 2 songs.
Hey,
Yeah,
2 songs.
2 songs. Well, they're still trying to find him. And he's still trying to get out of that darn orchestra pit. Well, finally, the radio station comes to me and said, this is embarrassing, we're going to close the show. I said, oh, I don't think you should. I said, you're going to have a problem if you do. Because Carl was pretty high, but he may have sobered up some by now. Anyway, so they said, well, we're going to close the curtain. And I said, well, you do what you think is best for you. But I said, I don't think I would do it. Well, by this time, the band, all but Johnny Seibert, had left the stage. Johnny Seibert.
Still playing.
Johnny Seibert. Because, and somebody said, well, are you going to quit? And he said, no, that man's paying me. They closed the curtain, and Carl kept singing. Finally, they had to open them up again. And they finally opened him up and turned the lights on where he could see how to get out of there. But anyway, he closed the show. He apologized for walking off the front of that
That was a
stage.
wild stuff.
That was
I'd
so
heard
funny.
one. I'd heard one show where Carl was on the stage and somebody said T. Tommy was emceeing the show. I think it might have been one of them Philip Morris shows back then when I first came.
Yeah.
But I said, T. Tommy, go get Carl off. I said, you crazy? I said, I'm not about to get Carl Smith off the stage.
No.
Carl was there a long time. Knowing T. Tommy, he's a dear friend of ours. I said, you crazy? I said, I'm not about to go take that Carl Smith off.
Farron Young walked off the stage like that one time in Memphis.
Yeah.
Not off the front now, and I don't think he was drinking. I think it was just the circumstances. The back of the stage was, well, the stage was about 8 or 10 foot tall, and across the back was a black curtain all the way across.
Yeah.
And that curtain was right on the edge of the back of that
That
stage.
could happen.
Well, Farron had done his thing, he took his bows and was fixing to walk off. He walked right through that curtain, and when he stepped through that curtain, he went right straight to the floor.
It was a Cajun orchestra pit, and it was on the behind end of the stage.
But it hurt him pretty bad. I don't think he broke anything, but it woke him up real good.
Oh, well, yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, that's been a funny, we've had such funny happening. The Grandpa Jones was one of the funniest.
He was.
a dear friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
It was so very funny. On or off stage, well, there at the opera backstage, my room was number 8, I think, and his was 6. We were almost side by each, is what I'm going to say, in our dressing room. And he had been in the service in Germany, and he spoke some German words, mock snakes and those
Yeah.
kind. And I didn't know what he said. We'd come on sometime, we'd meet either coming on or coming off stage, and he'd purposely speak to him in German. I didn't know what he was saying, so I'd answer him in French. So we just party each other, neither one knowing what the other one had said. But there's so many funny stories. I know you know some, and he used to come duck hunting with us all
Yeah.
the time. Well, he was part of the original Opry duck hunt. And one time somebody said, oh, he was excited, written a new song, and he ran up to Grandpa and said, Grandpa said, I just wrote a new song. And Grandpa said, what's it the tune of?
What's the tune of?
Like he wrote somebody else's song. But
One of the funny stories on Grandpa is whenever he fenced himself in.
Yeah.
funny story. Well, tell it,
And he
Jim.
found
It
the
was
cat.
so
No,
funny.
I can't remember to tell it, but I just remember somebody telling it.
Well, he built you want me to go
Go ahead. Oh, yeah.
The way I heard it? Because always listen for new Grandpa Jones story. I miss him more than anybody at the opera, you know. He was just so great to all of us. We were such good friends to all of us. You know. Built the fence behind his house and had his Jeep there and fenced his Jeep and he forgot to put a gate to the fence. So he fenced his Jeep in. We're duck hunting, one of them opera duck hunts, and I had an old gun. I was not, and I'm not a hunter, but I like to go for as we used to have the camaraderie we had. And so I pulled out an old double barrel shotgun, and it looked like it had been buried for about 10 years. It was rusty, unbelievable. And Grandpa he really was a gun man or whatever, buff. And so he saw that gun and said, "Wow, what are you going to do with that?" I said, "Well, that's all I have to duck hunt with, Grandpa." Okay, but he didn't like the idea. It wasn't taken care of. It was rusty. Because we used to, as a kid, we'd lean it in a corner, double barrel, full choke and modified, and the roaches would have rodeos over the gun and they'd fall in the barrel. When I was a kid, I didn't worry about that old gun. And so it took me a long time to get all the dead roaches out of that gun and break it open and got it clean. Well, they would not reject a shell. It had been too rusty. But anyhow, we were out there in the blind and the ducks in our opera duck hunt. And I'm sure you were on that trip too. And Grandpa was right next to me. There's a duck flying way up. Nobody would shoot it. And I right back with that full choke on that double barrel. And man, bow! And I knocked it down. Well, Grandpa said, "I bet you'll take better care of it now." But at the same time, a little bit later, he handed me a piece of the stock. It flown off of the gun. Oh, he gave me a rough time about that. Oh, boy. And then, that's some of this Grandpa John's story, you know, that he was so loved by all of us.
Well, there's a lot of stories that float around. Some of them can be told, some of them can't be
Well,
told.
not only Grandpa, but a lot of us.
Yeah, everybody, yeah.
Yeah. Grandpa was always, you could always tell him in mixed crowd, his stories.
I had one that I thought was funny. At the time, it was really funny. I was with Conway, and we were in Evansville, Indiana, not getting away from Grandpa, but this was just another story.
Somebody.
Del Reeves was on the show. And this was back when.
That was a trip.
Was it, what's the drummer's name? Was it John Virgin? Was that his name? The drummer. And Hartley, the bass player, I can never think of his last name. And Sasser and all of the old guys. But this was back like 69, 70. And we all went, everybody, that's when the old yellers were pretty hot. And,
yeah, that's not a dog we're talking
that's
about.
Right. And poor chap got a actual medicine vial, you know.
Who did?
Pork chop, Conway's drummer.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he filled it up with yellow M&Ms.
Oh.
And we went, because we knew all the other bands, you know, we'd chum together and all that. Anyway, we went to the Del Reeves, the band's dressing room, you know. And poor chap just kind of had that vial out, and he just kind of accidentally dropped it. And those M&M just went up all over the floor, you know, and Dale's band hit that floor on their hands and knees, and they was grabbing. They thought they was getting on you.
Like throwing a crippled grasshopper and a pen of young turkey.
Right, yeah, that's right. But it was so funny just watching them scramble after.
Oh, yeah, isn't that great?
And then they got up and see there was M&Ms, you know.
All the yellows are folks that may wonder what we're talking about, just a high-powered vitamin that help to get to the next day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it would help.
I rode around at 10 o'clock in the morning driving. I couldn't go to bed.
High-powered B12.
The guy said it took so many of them yellows every time he meet a school bus, his mouth closed.
The yellow part.
All right, thanks either one, huh? Del Reeves, we did the opera one night, and we were playing the next night. This was like Saturday night. Sunday afternoon, we were playing up in Pennsylvania. And it was an afternoon show, and we had to leave as soon as we got off the Opry to get there in time to do it. And Dell was on the show too. So we left in my bus, we went on up there. We got there in time for the show. No Dell. We do the show, the man comes up side of the stage, he just says, keep stretching. Dell, no, still not there. And finally, after about 2.5 hours, I said, there's enough of this. You know, I've sung every song I know. The band knows anyway. So we quit. Well, about that time, Dell drives up. Dell took off from here, and he went to Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh.
Before he, then he realized he was going the wrong way. So by the time he got up there, he was a little bit late. But Dell Reeves, there's a lot of stories you can tell on Dell.
Yeah.
Dell was a great entertainer. He
Yeah.
could do so many different acts.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It really could. Grandpa McCoy was my favorite. I had him doing the opera all the time. And of course, Jimmy Dickens and A-Cup. You could sound it's like A-Cup.
We went to Europe one time, or went several times, but a bunch of guys, from the opera, and maybe about 70 of us on the plane, pickers and the artists and everything. And Dale was on that show, and he kept the plane entertained,
Yeah.
going and coming. He would do Dickens. He would get down on his knees and through the aisle and go down through the plane, and he'd do Dickens talking, and imitate Jimmy Dean. The crowd, the plane was just.
Well, was that for the Wembley Country Music Festival?
Yeah.
No, those were experiences, sure.
They were, yeah. Mr. Kahn, Mr. Mervyn Kahn.
Yeah.
We toured over there, besides the Wembley thing, we'd go over and do.
I did, were you on that tour where Johnny Cash had to leave when we played, you were with the Conway then, I'm sure. We did Frankfurt, Germany.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And Cash had to leave early, so he had to go on early, is what I'm trying to say. And man, was it something, it was a disaster. It was nothing funny for me, because I had to follow they threw me out there to the lines, because Conway said, you're the only one that can survive this following the Cash. And thanks a lot, we used to have to follow Elvis, now I got to follow Cash. Cash the only one known in Frankfurt. And went out there, and my fiddle player was trying to do, he did scat and Cajun, and he tried to do a curly with the Three Stooges, and he was sort of scooting back and fell on his face. Oh boy, I'll never forgot that trip, because it was a funny trip.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was.
We played Madrid and all the towns.
Sure did.
We caused a riot in the other town. And
That's right, sure did. Well, Jerry Lee was on that show. Was it Jerry Lee?
Jerry Lee.
Yeah, they had a knockdown drag out.
Yeah, and Brenda and
Yeah, sure was.
and Chris' first wife. What was her name? Chris Dobson.
I know.
Coolidge.
Rita Coolidge. Yeah.
And some others. One.
Yeah.
But we had fun on that trip.
It was.
Then Conway's manager thought I had confiscated a thing to haul the luggage, or we were all confused about the whole thing. They were hard to find something to haul your luggage from to another
cart.
And so I might have thought about it, but I didn't do it. And it went on with some funny episodes.
Oh yeah.
I was in, Jim he toured Europe way before us with Jim Reeves, Africa.
Back in the 50s, 56.
That was some
55.
experiences too, because one time I was told that when y'all arrived, or Jim arrived, there was a tribe of Africans waiting. They were fans of his, and they were waiting. Mary told me this, and you know about that. The wild tribe of Africans, they were fans of Jim Reeves, and they were waiting.
And they didn't know what they were going to do.
No, dressed in their regalia, which was an everyday dress. But
There wasn't much there.
But we've had some fun. That's one thing about our business now that I miss, is there used to be natural comedians. There were some of us that were natural, but not couldn't be paid to be.
Wasn't trying, you was natural, but wasn't trying to.
That's right. Wasn't paid to be funny. But we had some funny people. Porter Wagner had some great comedians. Johnny and Katie had some great comedians. I know Hank, I forgot his name, he used to be in Louisiana that I met him. He had a comedian at times, or maybe it was just some dates. There was a little guy that Lum
York.
Lum York. I met him, and he was in, I guess he stayed in Baton Rouge until he died.
Yeah, he died last year.
Yeah, he was getting old. He was
Yeah.
getting old.
He was 82.
Yeah. That was part of the show back in the old radio days before TV. If you wanted to survive, in most cases you had to have a pretty good band or girl singer, and somebody could be funny.
Yeah.
Besides that, you need to be able to speak good English, and that let me out. I wasn't used to that part. Oh boy.
I remember when I was with Slim Rose.
Yeah, that always had a good show.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Speck was the comedian.
Yeah.
But what was really funny is, to us, to the band, was when the Elvis got hot and the rock and roll started coming in, and our crowd started falling off, you know. And Speck would get up, you know, the old time comedy he did, you know, and he'd get up there and he'd tell some of those old jokes, you know, and there was all these young kids out there in the audience, you know. And he'd tell a joke, and nobody would they wouldn't even smile, they'd even laugh, you know. And he'd look around at us, you know, it embarrassed him, you know.
Yeah.
And we would be sitting like I just busted a gut at him because,
Yeah.
because he wasn't going over. But it was embarrassing to him, but it was funny to us.
That happened to us on the road with doing Indian reservation, and I put
Yeah.
on the reservation. You guys know that happened.
They won't crack a smile.
Well, they don't understand the humor, and so everybody's sitting there and like a tree full of young owls, and you can't be funny to them. So
But at the end of the show, they'll come by
They
and tell
loved
you
it.
they enjoyed it.
a lot of
Yeah.
it,
But they didn't know about
they
it.
don't understood the humor. There's three things you didn't do in Louisiana when I was playing honky tonks. Three things you didn't do, and all three of them is this: don't talk between songs.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing between songs. Just sing. Hey, the first thing you hear is, "Hey,
Yeah.
I didn't come here to hear you talk. Sing."
Yeah.
Okay, so boy, I just hit him one after the other. At the same time, it's hard on the throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it was then.
It's still hard on your throat.
Yeah. But it's fun because you and I, at least, are still members of the Grand Ole Opry, and I celebrate my 50th year this year.
50.
In August, it'll be my 50th year as a member. I came here in '56, so that was quite a bit after Hank left. You know, with Hank, I worked for this other guy that pulled a creep. I was working for him, so I never got to see Hank when y'all played down there. Y'all played Lake Charles, y'all played different areas. Lafayette, the Haddock Caravan. Now, there's a funny story. Tell the story about Bob Hope and Hank Williams. But
When the Haddock show started, it was
that was a high energy
a lot of
drink,
famous people
a tonic.
on the thing.
Haddock was a high energy, was a tonic, a vitamin.
Yeah. It's,
Had to call Boogie.
Yeah.
Remember that?
and it started,
This is a funny
that tour, it was a train tour. We were gonna do the whole thing on train, 52 days. And it started in Lafayette, Louisiana. We parked the cars there.
Well, that's where Haddock started, you know.
Yeah.
I happen to know.
So we parked the cars there and got on the train, and we never saw the cars again for over a month. And it was supposed to wind up. We played Houma, Louisiana, and we played Mobile, and played Montgomery, and Columbus, Georgia, and all the way up to in Ohio and West Virginia.
No, pretty wide swing.
Nearly half the United States. And on that show was some well-known people. A comedian named Candy Candido was on there, and Rochester from the Jack Benny show was on it, and a bunch of people like that. And a couple of days they brought when the show first started, Hank Williams went over so good that they decided to let him close it all the time, which didn't matter to him. Well, we got to Cincinnati, and Bob Hope came on for 2 days, Cincinnati and Louisville.
And Hank had been closing all the time.
He'd been closing all the time. And they decided that out of respect, Hank ought to let Bob Hope close. Hank said, it's okay with me. And so we stood off and watched it. And when Hank was done, he did about 5 or 6 encores, and they wouldn't let him off. And finally, he just came off, and all this time now they're trying to get Bob Hope on because he ain't been on yet. And they wouldn't quit applauding. And finally, the guy went out there and just introduced him anyway. And Bob Hope came out with a big Western hat on.
So I make fun of the deal.
And he said, hello, I'm Hank Hope. And they said, boo! We want Hank Williams. But anyway, he went on and did his show. He's great, you know.
Yeah.
And when he came off, we were standing over by the steps where he come down off that truck. And Bob Hope told his entourage manager there, said, I don't want to follow the Cowboys anymore. And the next night, he didn't. Hank closed it out.
I think as Minnie told me about that because she was on the.
She was there.
Yeah, I think she's the one that told me about it. So it's so funny because Bob was so big then, and the way she said it, that Hope had said, I never want to follow that darn hillbilly again.
Milton Berle came on that show too, from Peoria, and I forgot the other town. And he was arrogant as heck.
He was arrogant.
Milton Berle was?
Yeah. And he'd go out and try to ham somebody else's act up. They had some acrobats out there where they climb up on top of one another and everything, and he screwed them up so bad they almost had a bad accident there. And Hank ain't been on yet. And Hank called that manager over here and he said, he can beat this out. He said, you tell that long-nosed son of a bitch, if he sticks his head on the stage when me and my bunch get out there, I'm gonna wrap this guitar around his head. Oh, Mr. Williams, you don't mean that. He said, the hell I don't. And they didn't let him come out there either. You can bleep that out.
But he'd come in and mess up the act that was on then.
Whoever was on, he'd mess them up.
Oh, that was
Intentionally.
That wasn't very
That was
professional.
his funny thing.
Sound like Farron, he'd go out and do Hank's nose show. We'd be able to stay in shows together, and Farron would come on before Hank, and he'd go out and do Hank's whole show. And Hank would just get fighting mad. Farron!
Farron did that one, we were in West Texas one time, and we were on a show, and Ferlin Husky was on it, and we were on it, Farron was on it, I don't know who all else, but anyway, Farron went out, Ferlin was closing the show, because he was really hot.
Yeah.
At that. Ferlin was closing the show, Farron went out on stage and did Ferlin's whole show. I mean, he just imitated everybody and all. And about the time for Ferlin to come on, he came up to the side of the stage, and Farron was doing this. And he stood there for about 2 songs, and he listened to all of this, and somebody told him, said, he'd done your show. Ferlin just took his guitar off, set it down, and started walking on stage. Farron looked over and saw him, and Farron took off the other way, went all the way to the hotel, got in his room and locked the door. But anyway, Ferlin Husky walked across the stage, stopped at the microphone, said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ferlin Husky. You have seen my show. Bye. And kept after Ferlin. And went all the way to the hotel and almost knocked that door down, trying to get to, because he would have fought.
Oh, I know it.
There's one nice guy, Ferlin Husky.
Yes, and
He's been a good
I
one.
worked with him for 3 years.
a kind man.
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about stories, there's a lot of stories between he and his sidekick.
Simon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they used to get in the backseat of the car and argue all the time. Sounds just like one time.
Two people.
Had Lum and Abner and Ferlin and Simon.
Yeah.
Whoa.
he had us stop the car one night, him and
I heard
they got in an argument, and they stopped and got out of the car, and we're gonna fight out there. And Thurman come running back and reached in the glove compartment and got a gun and went out there. And said, bang, 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 bang. Got back and put the gun back and said, let's go. And we started driving off, and Simon said, don't leave me out here.
Yeah, what a trip.
He was,
But Fern Husky, when I came here in '56, he was an act that you did not follow.
Oh,
Like
no.
trying to follow Elvis. That's
Never.
How, that's
Yeah.
what kind of entertainer he is. Was and is. He still is. It's just that he was doing a lot of people that people don't know now that he was doing then. Like Foley was such a big artist then. He'd do Foley and Kitty
Kitty
Wells,
Wells.
Oh, he could
Dickens.
do them all.
And the funniest part, we were in Germany together one time, and I was doing some shows, and he did Cash. And he could mimic, not only sound like him, he could mimic him. He walked out on stage, because Cash was not a big humorous guy when he walked out. He walked out very serious.
Yeah.
And that's, anyhow, he walked out like he was walking through weeds to the mic and started doing Cash and just tore the house down. He was one of the greatest entertainers
Oh, he was.
He
in
was,
country
yeah.
music. You know, I started talking about comedians a while ago. He could do it all. Yeah.
I think we got enough.
Thank you.
Walked in the dressing room one time on a tour, and Jimmy Dickens was on it. And Ferlin had taken a magic marker and put a black mark there and there on little Jimmy.
Oh, that was Jimmy?
Set little Jimmy up on his lap and run his hand up. And they did a ventriloquist.
And let me tell you, Dickens, that's a great entertainment we didn't mention. And Dickens could do that with him. They never rehearsed it, but it turned to the.
That would be funny.
Oh,
Let me
Lord.
tell you what, Jimmy Dickens went on stage in Baltimore, Maryland, drunk. And I had been on and got off, and everybody else had been on, and Jimmy was closing the show. And everybody else had left to go to eat because, this was the afternoon show, and we were gonna eat, and then come back. Everybody had left. And Jimmy was out there, and he went into the last song on the show was this the rag doll thing. And he did this, he got this stool out, and he sat down on this stool, and they had this little rag doll in his hand. And he sang that song, and I mean, people were crying.
Yeah, they were literally
But he was having
Oh,
enough
yeah.
to drink that he really put it on.
Yeah.
And when he finished, as soon as he finished, he got down off that stool, threw that rag doll down and started stomping it. And oh God, I went to the bus, I said, boys, we better get out of here. Because I knew what was gonna happen. They'd have killed him. Oh, if the security hadn't got him right quick, got him out of there.
That's great.
People would-
You got what you want.
Yeah.
We went to the comedy party.
Yeah, we got it.
Well,
We got it, yeah.